No, I have to.
Well,
I'm gonna have to get that to you. It's
well, you know,
it's been a year.
po body's nerfect.
He just got a new 3D printer, new filament printer. Um, oh, what we got here? Notification. Help desk. We are live.
The help desk, and we are live. We are out here on
Nice.
the GCPR station. Welcome, everybody. I am Gilbert, also known as the Angry IT Nerd. I am here with my co-host George, also known as Techno George. We are the help desk. George, how you doing today, man?
Doing as well as can be expected. Hello to everybody out there in computer land. And oh, we got storms coming through. So if you lose us,
That's
you know what
why.
happened. That's
So
why. Yeah.
the storm's
But,
coming for both of us. So,
I know storms coming for both of us. So,
so yeah, man. Look, first off, all right. Whoever did this whole methodology of uploading apps to Google, to the Google Play Store, I want to drop kick you. I've never had to jump through so many hoops on anything just to upload it. But the good thing is now is that good and bad. See, because this is first time app, first time developer, yada yada yada. I've got to have a list of 20 people, which is overall, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Not that big, not that much of a stretch or anything like that. You know, put it in the group chat, everybody there, then put it on Discord. Whoever get it
mhm.
will get it. Then, if not, then I don't know. I'll just make a bunch of fake accounts and then
That's true. You could make
and
fake
I can
accounts,
just
couldn't you?
and then just go from there. But anyway, I have to have that all put together, so that way I have a testing list. So that way I can send it out.
Mm.
Well, that way I have a list of people that I could send the link out to, so that I have a good enough audience where they could test it. I get good feedback. I know what works, what doesn't work, what looks good, what doesn't look good, the whole nine.
Well, I mean, you could use the GCPR chat if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's
Just put the GCPR chat. You know, there's
yeah. Well,
10 people there, 11 more. Let's see. Well, there's me, you, Gretchen, uh, Jeff, Kristen. I could send it
and
to Lynn, uh, Thomas. Yeah, there's about
like I know there at least be 10, at least 10, maybe 15.
yeah, maybe
Like
15.
like it
Yeah, so I was thinking
like
like 15.
between, and even still between all of us. I mean, we could, you know, spread it out to people that we know,
Yeah.
and because I can have up to 100 people,
Okay,
and
cool. N
as far as the test, and then from there, be able to upload, do internal testing, then do what they call I think external, or like beta kind of testing or whatever.
Oh, yeah, like beta test.
Yeah, and then full on production, meaning it's published and out to the public and out on the front pages, I guess. So
Yeah, back in the day, we used to call beta testing. Oh, in at Intel, we used to call it acid test and do the acid test, and see whether
right,
see how hard it actually hurts, and it hurts people, and like so yeah.
yeah. So it's a whole process.
I know.
It's a whole thing. And like I said, the whole I'm thinking, I don't know. Usually on new stuff that you upload, even like years ago with websites, before how easy it was because to set one up now, you could literally do one in a day. Years ago, it could take anywhere from oh a full week to a month in
Right.
order just to set up a website with a domain name, server, in let's not even talk about security settings. So, jeez, all that was a nightmare.
Well, yeah.
That was a nightmare.
If it's like an e-commerce site, you're going to have SSL2, SSL3 encryption,
Mm-hmm.
like for using credit cards and stuff like that, which is the
Oh
secure
yeah.
socket layer. And yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a pain in the butt. That's why, I never really, I used to just tell people, you know what? Just direct message me or private message me if you want to, buy something that I have on my Facebook page.
Right.
And said, and they're like, you should use Shopify. No, I don't want to use Shopify. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do
No, no.
anything like that because it's all, you know,
Which I mean, it's fine if you have the time for it and you have the patience for it, and you don't mind splitting the cost with Shopify,
yeah, you have to
in
split the cost of
return,
Shopify and
right? In return for the the name recognition of Shopify and the audience that they have or whatever. That's all fine and good. But I mean, sometimes with the fees and everything, so and you're not just paying Shopify. I mean, if you're using like say PayPal or what kind of payment gateway you're using, I mean, they're gonna take a percentage out too.
if you're using
So
Square,
use a Square,
like,
yeah.
because I had Square for my, my paintball business many, many years ago. Square was taking at the time they were taking like 3% of every sale. So I had to make more sales, and I wouldn't. I mean, I wasn't really, like doing that much in sales. I was actually doing more research on paintball guns and actually, putting them all together and
Mm-hmm.
doing like mods and stuff like that. That's what I would do. But but yeah, selling them. I got a cease and desist from eBay one time from Smart Parts because Smart Parts said, "Well, you're cheapening our guns." I'm like, "No, I bought your guns at you know
So I bought them at this price.
at disc,
And
yeah, because I used to go to paintball discounters, which was like my go-to place, and I would get like my dealer price. I get my dealer price, I pay
mm-hmm.
the dealer price, I get the guns, sell them on eBay, and they're like, "Well, you have to sell our guns for above market value." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And they said, "Well, then." So
Like,
then,
I mean, that defeats the whole purpose of using eBay.
yeah, they pulled our listing. They pulled the listings. They shut it down, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So the guy goes, "Well, how many more units do you have?" I said, I have. I think at the time we we had like 50 guns left, in our stock, and I remember selling them for $1. I was like, okay, you want me to sell them? I'm selling them for $1. And this guy bought all 50 guns from me. I sent out these brand new smart parts guns. And he's like going, "Why are you selling these for $1?" I said, "Because after this, we don't sell smart parts anymore." Smart parts wanted me to sell guns at 100. They wanted me to do $150,000 in business a year. I was like, if I could do $150,000 in business, I wouldn't be selling smart parts. I'd be
Be selling,
I'd be selling everything.
everything else. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but the e-commerce stuff, it's just a pain in the butt. You have to pay this person, and then there's a
Yeah.
charge for this, and you have too many things on your store, well, the hosting is going to be this, and it's like when we do the radio station here. Everything is a charge. Everything, you know.
Yeah. So, and even with the with the app, even it's saving us a lot of the charge because uh, the one service that you had found, what they were charging like what 55 a month, $55 a
Good
month or
Barber
something
was
like that.
charging 55 a month, but it was no code. So
But
you
there was
just
no
put in
code.
your
But yeah,
criteria and it created the app. It created the app for you.
right. And so
But that was but that's a basic, that was just like a basic I guess tier.
right.
I guess there were gonna be a lot of tears, because you were gonna be crying after that. But it was a basic tier, and then I think they only give you like 10. I think they only give you like 10 gigabytes of space. If you needed more, you had to go to a professional account,
Mm.
and your professional account was going to be anywhere from $125 to $200 a month just to keep that app on there. And they would, I
Yeah.
mean, but it's a lot of
And
money,
then, which I'm thinking
but
is that, which I'm thinking the reason is that is because it paid for the app and to host it and to list it and go through all the steps like that, but with us and the way we're doing everything
yeah,
is that, we've found the way to be able to do it and eliminate that cost and still be able to make the app.
right,
Granted, is taking more time because we're having to do you know everything step by step, to which they've already got it established and they've already
right.
got a whole team and everything working on it nonstop. So of course naturally it's going to go faster with them, and so they can be able to offer that uh,
Yeah,
basic
I
tier,
mean,
medium tier, or high tier,
it's all
whatever. Yeah.
it's all cloud based, and they themselves would update the app on the iOS store, the Google Play store, so you didn't have to do that, you know. And it's going to have to be certain things, like I found out with the Hot 101 app when we were on Hot 101, Jeff can put it on his phone, but I have I have a newer iPhone. I think I had a 7 for forever. And I just switched over to the 14, and I was like, okay, I switched over to 14 or 15, and I was like, I can't put their Hot 101 app on this phone for some reason. It will not work. It just
Hmm.
will not go on. So I can't. So I have to, put the TuneIn Radio app on it.
Oh, well, it sounds like the way it sounds like to me is that somebody, I guess whoever, I'm not sure if they developed that, whoever was maintaining it or whatever, um,
Yeah.
didn't, I guess, take into account like any kind of upgrades or downgrades or anything like that, and just kept it at being um,
Right.
one specific uh, what am I trying to say?
One specific operating
Version.
system for the phone, or
One
sorry,
one
one
specific
specific
version of it.
version for the
Right.
phone. Right.
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 And so, because with Android on that, it's the same thing. Is that you can tailor it to be either Android, say 13, or
Hmm.
you could tailor it to be Android from 16, 17, no, on up to down, all the way down to Android 6. But
Right.
nobody's gonna have Android 6, operating system. Not anymore, anyways. And so
I. Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of like the more versions that you include, the larger the size, and the more likely it has to be hacked or just to crash in general.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword on that. So you want to take into account your audience, you know, what the oldest technology, the newest technology, and try to figure out a happy medium, you know.
Right.
But it is what it is. And you just juggle, and you end up just sometimes.
Trying to look into the YouTube chat, see if we have anybody on here. Here, so
Uh, the
we have
chat is a
nobody in
desert.
the live chat. Okay.
Oh, the chat is a desert today. Uh, uh,
Sure, if
my
we talked
feel,
about JD Vance,
my,
on
my
like a
feelings are almost
sofa,
hurt.
we would get it live. We get it kind of lively there. But I'll wait for Thomas to do that.
And yeah, just mm.
Yeah, that's why I like to watch the Villain's View. Villain's View is awesome
Oh,
because
I think the
I learned
comment I
so
said.
much. Like when Thomas is, like Thomas
I
is rattling off all these people, and I'm like, and I'm trying to write everything down. I'm trying to look them up on Google, and I'm trying to, and the computer's going crazy. And I'm going, okay, well, this guy, I'm trying to get the conversation. I'm old. I'm sorry. I just don't know all these people.
sometimes it can. It's hard to catch up, or sometimes it's hard to keep up with him. Sometimes once he starts
Yeah,
going.
yeah. He
But
started,
yeah,
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 man,
but
and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like,
yeah. I remember
okay,
it was on the Villain's View when I said about the lazy boy.
yeah, that's it, the lazy boy,
They're looking at a
lazy
lazy
boy.
boy as a pocket rocket. But that's another show for another time.
Yes, that's another subject for another show. And
Oh, but I'm sure if the same thing happened and he was at a Dell computer store, and then all of a sudden he just start going at one of the laptops, or just going at it at one of the desktops. It was just like, whoa, man, you gotta go.
I was looking on one of the forums. I was in one of the computer forums. Somebody had a Timex Sinclair computer system. Do you remember those?
Oh man,
Timex Sinclair is very
wow,
thin computer,
yeah.
made by Time. I think it was was it a 144 or a 44? Let me see here. Timex Sinclair. Oh, look at that. It's being sold on
Oh,
eBay for $4.46. I know, sorry, that's the original ad. Sorry, the original ad is being sold for four dollars and
oh
forty
man.
six cents. Sinclair, let's see. The original
Oh,
magazine ad. Trying to find it here. Uh,
okay.
is it used? Well, here's a used one. 300, $320 on eBay. Wow. It had the cartridges and stuff you used to put the cartridges in. Vintage Simon
Yeah.
Sinclair 2068 PC personal color computer with cartridge slot, manual, and owner's guide. And you can actually learn basic computing. Um,
I
yeah.
think at this point, the only thing you can't do on that is basic.
What?
I was saying, so I think the only thing you can do on that at this point is just basic computing.
Yeah, it was basic computing. It wasn't anything else you could do. It was
Yeah,
supposed to get people into computers. I remember
but yeah,
ColecoVision came out with their own PC with the double cassette drive, And I remember the commercial had the girl and the kid, and they looked like the two kids like from War Games. You know, the girl looked like Ali Sheedy with the long hair, and
Mm-hmm.
the other kid
Yeah.
was like the geeky kid with the, and I was like, oh, they're trying to sell the War Games, movie so that, like you can get a
Yeah.
computer with a double cassette drive, and a dot matrix printer, 24-pin dot matrix printer. Yeah.
Oh, of
Because
course, at the time, because
that's the future.
that's the future, man. That's the future, man. So it wasn't war games, man. I liked war games. I honestly did. I liked war games a lot, even though the sequel to it didn't really get that much attention to it. I liked the sequel as well. You know.
The Whopper, War Operation Plan Response, the Whopper. I used to love that thing.
Oh, oh man, yeah, man. And so it was, oh, so war games and some of the ones, hackers.
Yeah, hackers with
Um,
yeah.
those are a few of the ones that kind of shaped my whole want to kind of dive into IT. You know, because for whatever reason, right? I wanted to do like how with hackers, like some of the hackers, where I just grab, I just you know carry a laptop everywhere, and then all of a sudden, I walk up to an ATM, I just pull out and then money just starts shooting out at me. I just grab it and then wherever I go, I just pull out a laptop and just hack it to it,
Radio Shack TRS-80,
and just,
like the
random.
portable, the portable one
Yeah,
with the full keyboard and the little LCD screen.
right,
You could hook that up to the phone.
right. Yeah, I mean that was my whole thing. I just wanted just to randomly hack into everything.
Yeah.
but but now
Or
there's a little thing. It's called Flipper Zero. It's a little hacking tool, which almost you can almost hack into anything with that. I mean, not
oh,
into like ATMs or anything like that, but like um like people's TVs and Roku's and just little IoT Internet of Things like devices and stuff like that. Yeah, you can hack into
what
those.
was it? There was I'm trying to think of it. It was in the Steven Seagal movie, Under Siege 2 Dark Territory. He had this he had like this little tablet computer. I think it was called a Newton.
Oh
Was it
man,
was it from Apple? No. It
no,
was
no. I thought it was just its own because I kind of
I have to
vaguely
find.
remember that because
He
there are
had
like
this.
a lot of Steven Seagal movies I block out, but there are a few things. But that one does ring a bell on that one, and I think it was its own thing.
Here it is. Yeah. It's on Wikipedia. It's called the Apple Newton. I
It
remember this
was
thing.
okay.
It was like a tablet, and they had this 1997 model running Newton OS alongside the original iPhone from 2007 running iOS. This thing's like a PDA. Yeah, I remember this thing. But it's huge. It looks like
Oh,
yeah, it was the Message Pad 2100. With 162 megahertz on the Newton, 412 on the iPhone. It was it was based on the ARM processor. Yeah, yeah, that thing was just like
it's
bulky
just
as
a
hell.
it's just a big hulking honking piece of equipment. And I think it wasn't until Star Trek. Next Gen? Next Gen? Next Gen or Deep Space Nine? When they had like the little tablets.
Oh, the pad. Yeah, the
Yeah,
pad,
the
the
pads.
personal access display device. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the pad. Yeah, I remember the pad on the original Enterprise. The screen on it used to be it it was like that wax. It was like that wax paper screen we used to write on it, and then just
Yeah.
like pull the paper up, and then it would like disappear. That's what they originally put onto those pads, and I was like, ah. But they came out with this technology. It's called oh, what is it? It's electronic paper. It's what what is it called? I saw it. It's like $1,000 for this thing. It looks like a pad,
Is that one of those
and it's not
where
a tablet per se.
like
Um,
it's mostly used for like reading ebooks and like writing notes and
right.
like doing day to day daily stuff like that. But
It's called Remarkable. That's what it's called. Remarkable. It's like $449. It's like a tablet. Yeah, I mean you can read you could read books on it, but
look
you
at
can
man,
actually write on it. You can draw on it and stuff like that, and it will translate your scribbles into actual text. But Claude does that too. If you ever seen Claude, Claude is it's an audio recorder.
mm-hmm.
A friend of mine bought it. I had recommended it to her because she does a lot of meetings, and it actually hooks
Okay,
to your iPhone, and it has ChatGPT 4.0 embedded in it. So whenever you're on your phone and you're doing a meeting and it's getting both sides of the conversation. It listens to both sides and then it just basically transfers it into text. So you don't have to
mm-hmm.
take any notes, you
Oh,
know.
okay,
It would be cool for like if you're in class,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. That
Like
is cool.
in Real Genius where where the teacher has, the you know the kid keeps going back and forth to class, and then all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden he finds out that all the students are gone and there's tape recorders on the desks, and then the teacher's spot where he's supposed to be sitting has this big reel-to-reel recorder playing the actual seminar, and he's the only person in the room. Yeah, it's kind of what reminds me of what that is.
That is hilarious. That is
Real Genius.
hilarious.
That's another really good. That's a really another yeah another really good computer movie.
Yeah. Um. And so all those ones, man, it's kind of inspired me, and
Yeah,
because
the
yeah,
one
I just
the
wanted to, because I just wanted to randomly hack into stuff. Yeah. Like I mean, I just wanted to live the dream. Just just walk into place, just randomly hack into it, and
I
just
think
you know,
I think the show that actually got me into computers was the $6 Million Man. That was the six million
yeah,
dollar man. That that was the show, man. That was the thing back in the '70s. It was bionics, and I was like, "What are bionics?" And I was like, and I said, "Okay." Like, okay, he can lift. He can lift a car with his right arm, but and
right.
I said to myself, "Well, wait a minute. The metal is attached to his to the frame of his." I was like going, wouldn't the tendons and everything snap if he's lifting up a car? You
Damn, you
know,
didn't think about that. You weren't
I,
thinking about that at the time, because like, we watching that We were thinking about that at the time. We were thinking about the bionics or the robotics of
The
it,
physics of it. Yeah, we
or
weren't thinking
the
about the phys.
physics or
Yeah, because
logistics
when
of
you're,
it.
because when you're a kid, yeah,
Yeah,
everything is like, that's cool, man.
it's like,
That's really
oh, that
cool.
is so cool. And you see him like pick up boulders and like like throw tanks, and it's like, yeah, you don't think
He had the
about any
one,
kind of
he had the one eye. He could zoom in.
right.
He had night vision.
Yeah,
He had infrared. I was like, wow, cool. He's got night vision. Like in his eye. That's awesome.
right. And you don't think about anything else, but no, you just
Yeah, I think
uh,
I think that's how I basically got into computers. When I got my first computer, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Got no idea. And I went over to Radio Shack and I just got a book about electronics. I started reading. Started getting into lasers heavily back in the 80s, which was actually pretty cool. So it was computers and lasers. The Laser Cookbook, which I read, and then but then yeah, I got that job at Metrologic in the summertime. That was awesome. I was like just like rebuilding laser power supplies, and then you know the rest is, as they say, history.
that's
So
pretty cool. For
yeah,
me, it's not.
yeah.
Well, not that I'm elaborate. For me, it was just video games, and then I saw hacking movies, and I just want to just randomly
You
go
want to
around.
hack into everything.
I just wanted to live the life, man. Just wanted to go around just hacking stuff, you know, carry carry around these big bulky laptops. Want
I
to
used
look
to
cool.
hack. It was funny. I used to hack the soda machine at college. No, not the soda. Well, actually, the soda machine and then the vending machine at college when we were at college. And um, the guy one day came in with some sort of a remote control, and he hit the button, and
Mm-hmm.
all the things came forward and fell into the bin. I was like, oh, I'm like, I wonder what he, like, like I wonder what he used. And we found it. We went to I went to the store and I got a garage door controller,
Mm-hmm.
and we opened it up and we found all the little paddles, like like little gate switches, and we tried different combinations, and we were able to hit the button on the garage door opener, and the thing would actually come, forward so we could get,
Okay.
snacks. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I really like that because because like my friend said to me, he said, well, how do you know how to do this? And I said, well, the guy who comes to change the vending machines, he doesn't pull everything out of there. He hits one button on this remote
Mm-hmm.
control and it all comes forward and it all falls into the bin, and he just takes out, all the old stuff and he puts
Mm-hmm.
all the new stuff in. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the soda machine was broken at school. If you if you hit all the button, it was the old one with like the little analog buttons, like the big analog buttons for Coke and everything. If you went
Right.
like real fast with it, and then somebody put the change in, it would understand. The computer would say, "Well, he wants this," and like six or seven, things of soda would fall through, thing, and you could pull them out. I was like, "That's pretty cool." So, yeah,
Yeah. And
you
see,
just
see, it's little stuff like that. You know, just wanted to live the life, man. Just wanted to live the life. You know,
want to live a life of a hacker.
right? Right? I mean,
Never
this
go thirsty again, never go hungry again.
exactly. Want to just be able to walk into a restaurant and just say, yes, there's a reservation for Smith, John Smith. Yes, for 8:27. you know, I just want to hack my way into stuff, man. Just want to be able to come and go, as I please. Get everything that I need. Not what? No, I wasn't. Didn't want to. Wasn't greedy. Didn't want a mansion. Didn't want, billions of dollars or anything like. No, no, no. Just one
Yeah,
video
just
game.
like grab money when you could.
Yeah,
I mean, just grab money for the, for the day, for the moment.
just
That's all.
yeah, just grab lunch. Get a game or something like that.
Yeah.
Put gas in my car. I just want to hack my way to doing it. You know, is that so
There,
wrong? Is
there
that
was
so
a,
wrong? I mean,
there was an old movie I
that's not
saw one time.
that's not for the FBI or anything like that. I was just joking.
It had,
That's just joke.
um,
That's just jokes.
oh my God, who was it? I think it was Joe Don Baker. It was Joe Don Baker and one of the women who played on Cagney and Lacey. I forget what her name was, but anyway, um, in the movie, her father was an inventor, and he invented this radio control that could, unlock your car and actually start it. So
Oh,
she had this
okay.
thing, and she was stealing all these high-end cars, but it was in the 70s though. So it's like these big boats, like these big 70s, but I mean like sports cars, like
I'm sure they were
I
probably
think
like
I think the one she stole was the Mustang Mach 1, 1972 Mustang Mach 1, which is a really cool car.
okay.
And it's like, okay. So, but you see the door locks go up, and she gets
Mm-hmm.
in the car, she closes the thing, and she hits another button, and right, the engine just goes vroom, and it's like starts without her putting a key in it. And I was uh, it's like, okay, there's no way that this would have happened, but okay, I'm just
So
gonna,
yeah,
I'm just gonna go with it. It was a really cool. It was, I don't know, like at the time, it was a really cool movie. So it
yeah,
was kind of like remote control.
yeah, I get it. Hey, that's that's just cool. That's something, Yeah, I totally
It's like
get
hacking
it
Wi-Fi.
because
Um, I had seen, Hack Five did a show. Shout out to hack5.org. Hack Five did a show where they went to ShmooCon. So if you go to ShmooCon in Washington, D.C., I think it's every year. I think it's coming up. Um, I don't know if it was in August. It was in June. But there's a hackers convention every single year at ShmooCon. They hold it in Washington, D.C., I think. And Hack 5 is always there, and they have people who have hacked into everything. I mean, anything and everything, like
yeah,
padlocks, like gun safes. If you forgot your password to your gun safe and you needed to get back in, there is somebody on YouTube which I watch. He's called the Lockpicking Lawyer. And he's a great YouTube channel. If you go see it, shout out to the Lockpicking Lawyer. He's a lawyer, and he shows you how to hack certain padlocks. And then he also goes and like companies will actually send him, like Schlage, and there's also a Master Lock. They will send him their latest lock, and he'll like get into the lock in like 2 seconds and go, well, here's the vulnerability. Here's the vulnerability. So, but he's gotten into like many things, like there was a retinal scan lock he got into. There's all these electronic locks, like gun safe locks and stuff like that.
okay,
And so yeah, he shows you how to do that. But ShmooCon is basically um a, it's like a hacker fest. So if you wanted to know about how to hack anything, that's the place to go. That's the place for hackers. There's like hacker
yeah,
forums and stuff like that. But Hack 5 did a show with, they actually had a remote control airplane. So they had an RC controlled airplane that had something that Hack 5 actually sells called the Wi-Fi Pineapple. So the Wi-Fi Pineapple is basically a it's a packet sniffer, and what it will do is you can you can put the Wi-Fi Pineapple in a designated area. It will actually find all of the Wi-Fi
Mm-hmm.
hotspots around. It'll find everybody's phone. It'll find all these things, and it will record all the MAC addresses and actually create metasploits or exploitable, uh, I guess, hackable nodes for all of these things that it finds.
Okay.
So these two guys, they got together and they took the Wi-Fi Pineapple and they put it into this RC controlled plane that actually had GPS on it, and actually it flew around for like a couple of miles, where I guess wherever they lived, and they found all these places. They found like a police department that was hackable with Wi-Fi. They found a fire station, the post office, all these other places, all these large companies, and then
Mm-hmm.
the thing landed, and they took the actual data off of that, and they found all these places that they can get into. They found all the IP, like it recorded the IP address, it recorded the MAC address, it recorded all these things, and it was really cool. They like they hooked the laptop up to the plane,
Yeah.
and the little thing, and they just started typing
So
away
they
like with
just
Wireshark, and they were like, okay, here's everything we found. We found this, we found a library, we found a bank, we found all this other stuff, and the plane did all the work for them, so they really didn't have to go out and go search,
so they did
for anything.
remote hacking.
Yeah, like like remote,
They did
there you
double
go,
remote hacking.
remote hack. So yeah, it
Well, I
was really
mean,
cool.
oh yeah, it's pretty cool, man. But man, that scared the shit out of me. I'm sorry, that would. My paranoia would just kicked in. You know, just you know what I mean?
Was it?
Because I mean, I'm thinking like this. I'm I'm just seeing somebody just flying a drone, not thinking anything of it. You know, next thing I know, my Wi-Fi is getting hacked. Like what the?
Yeah, my friend John? Was it my friend John Janos? He flies drones. Um, and he typed up this thing. He sent it to me here. The FAA rules for recreational purposes for drones. The aircraft is operated in accordance with a community-based organization's set of safety guidelines. It says, what is it? Give way to all manned aircraft. Get airspace approval prior to flying in uncontrolled airspace. Flying over people, houses, and buildings must be above 86 feet and no higher than 400 feet. Um, you actually have to have an FAA tail number for your drone, because it is regulated by the Federal Aviation Administration, and you also have to comply with FCC rules because it is a wireless device. So yeah, there were like a lot of restrictions and stuff like that because people were flying drones, and they said because they have FAA tail numbers and they are subject to FAA rules. If you use a there there's it's a it's called a signal gun. And what it will do is it will actually disrupt the signal of the drone. If the drone is flying over your property or whatever, and you use this
Mm-hmm.
gun on it, it will disable all of, like the link to the original operator, and the drone will fly out of the sky. If you
Mm-hmm. Okay.
take the drone, you're subject to federal to a federal crime, and you can be imprisoned and you could be fined, I believe, up to $150,000. And I forget how many years in jail it would be for you to actually take the drone.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's why I don't get drones.
That's a good reason why not
I
to get
mean,
drones.
I don't get a drone because they're too expensive, but you know,
Well, just the
the D,
simple
yeah,
fact is that that they're regulated by the FAA, and you know, and this is one thing that I learned. I'm not sure, how much is true or what. But with all planes, say that you have to have, you gotta chart your exact, you know, where you're going, where you're coming from, where you're going to,
right,
your exact layoffs, how long you're gonna be at each place, and it has to be all kind of really time coordinated, because there are going to be other planes that are going, same
right,
directions, and you could
right.
potentially hit each other. With delays of like of course obviously weather and you know basic things like that. Plane
So
blows up
you
or
have to
something like
file
that.
like a
But
flight
yeah,
plan. To
yeah,
file a flight plan.
you have to. So if it's
Yeah,
something that is governed by that, and you almost to a point kind of have to say, hey, I'm going to be flying it, let's say in, you know, at this park here, and I'm only going to, at this radius of, you know, 2 miles. I'm just going to use 2 miles, 2 miles radius as,
right.
and just say, 2 miles wide, 2 miles up. That's going to be the my flight plan.
Right. Yeah, I found that out with because a few years ago my friend was working with a company, and they were trying to promote the product of the company, and I said, well, why don't you send your product into outer space? And they said, well, how do we do that? I said, well, we could do it with a helium balloon and sort of like a package with a GPS and all this other stuff, and you can actually send it to 100. I think it was like 100,000 feet, and at a certain point the balloon would burst because it would actually, it was filled with helium. It would actually
Right.
rise, and it would expand to the point where it would break, and then it would have to come down with a parachute and a GPS, and you could try to find it with the GPS. So they said, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Oh, we can promote the product and blah 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 blah, and we can have." And they said, "And you can take pictures of outer space because, well, I mean, you wouldn't be in like the first or second orbit of outer space. You'd be about 95,000 feet, maybe. You
Okay.
could see the curvature of the Earth. You could see outer
Mm-hmm.
space. See space, and then all of a sudden they just said, well, what happens if if the chute fails and the thing just comes, barreling down to Earth because it would be frozen and it would be a frozen thing and then it would hit somebody and cause all this damage. And I said,
Right.
well, and they said, well, what do you have to do for that? So I had to call. I put the thing into Google. I Googled it, of course, and you have to call the FAA. And I was like, what do I have to call the FAA? You have to file a flight plan
Right.
saying that this thing is going to take off at a certain point. It's going to have a balloon on it. It's going to have a parachute on it. It's going to have this on it and all this other stuff. And because if there are any, passenger jets, if this is going to be in the way of a passenger jet and it gets sucked into their engine and they don't know about it, you know, you could, potentially kill a lot of people. So
Mm-hmm.
it was this whole thing, and I was like, and then there was, this and that, and it was going to cost, and I was like, you know what? It's just better not. It's better just not to do it, and then just, you know. So they said, yeah, no, 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 that's okay. But we actually created a was it my friend was an engineer. We created the box to put it in with the camera, but we actually created it as a drone, so it would go up, and then at a certain point when the balloon broke and the parachute like the drag chute came down at a particular height, about five, it was like 600 or 550 feet, the drone electronics would kick in and it would do a recovery. It would actually come back to base, and it would do it
Okay.
with the GPS. And I said, that's actually very cool because
Yeah.
it, it's not going to be in it's not going to be on top of somebody's house. It's not going to be in the
Just
middle of
got
a lake. It's going
right.
to actually fly back to us and land. And he goes, that's a great idea, blah, blah. And we designed the whole thing. We just never put it into practice. But, I thought that
Ah.
would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, we
Yeah,
could do that
because
for
I mean,
GCPR or something like that. We could, send something to space.
yeah, you get a GCPR satellite, man. Get our own satellite.
Yeah, the villain satellite. That would be great. Yeah, here you go.
So
It'd be like
so,
Cobra,
right?
Cobra, G.I. Joe retaliation with the satellite. Yeah, yeah, with the,
That would be something that we would catch hell on that one. We're trying, just for trying to set that up.
could take over one,
Oh.
of Elon's, Starlink satellites. That would be
Yeah,
something really
yeah, we
cool to
could do
hack
that.
into. Wouldn't you like to hack that?
Yeah, yeah.
FBI is going to show up at my house. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, might be worth it. No, that's just jokes. Those are jokes.
They're,
For
yeah, they're
anybody,
just
anybody
jokes.
that's just listen. That's just a joke. I'm only joking. I'm
We're
only joking. I'm only
we're
joking.
just joking. We're not going to do that. We're not even going to do that for educational purposes.
Not even for educated. No, it's just a joke. Like I've seen what happens at the end of Swordfish. I'm not. I've seen what happened at the end of Black Hat. So, no, I'm good. I'm good.
We don't want to, we don't want to swordfish thing.
You know. So, but yeah. Oh,
Did you ever get your phone fixed?
I did. I did, and I contacted Steve, and so we're set up to record tomorrow.
Oh,
So
nice.
for everybody listening, uh, other podcasts that I do, it's called Rules of Nerdquisition, where we talk about Star Trek. Uh, talk about Star Trek, all the shows. We have had a guest on, Chris Hunter, who's the son of Jeffrey Hunter, who played the original Captain Pike. We are now having our next guest on, whose name is Steve Warnick. He is a writer for Deep Space Nine. He's working on other projects as well, and we're going to have him on. He's going to talk about all the stuff he's got going on. It's going to be a great show, so everybody listen to that. And done shilling for Rules of Nerdquisition.
That's going to be tomorrow.
Yes, going to be tomorrow.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's going to be
At,
tomorrow.
at what time?
Around 5:30. Around 5:30.
5:30. All right, cool. I will sure to be bothering Steve in the chat. There you go. I could bother him by text though. Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool
But,
guy. He's a good guy.
but
I
yeah,
met I met Steve many, many years ago. But
but yeah, he's
yeah.
super nice guy. Super
Yeah.
nice guy. I like him a lot. I only had one conversation with him and texted a few times, and Yeah,
Yeah,
I like him. He's cool, dude, and I know it's gonna be a great show.
yep,
And all the stuff this one project he's working on. Once he's finished with it, if you are a true I don't want to say Star Trek or if you're just a great sci-fi fan in general, you're gonna love this new show he's working on. So
yeah. Yeah. I got to read. I got to read some of it. I got to read the first drafts of it, and we uh, he was working on something. It was supposed to be the continuation of Space 1999, and it was called Space 2099,
oh,
where the Alphans were on this planet and all this other stuff. And he wrote this script and the whole thing together. And I was like, this is going to be great. They're gonna redo the
mm-hmm.
not really redo the series, but continue the series of the Alphans,
Right,
you know,
like a continuation.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's called Space 2099. I think it was also something called Moonbase Alpha Legacy. And I remember Eric Chu was working on it. Eric Chu is a designer. Uh, he's someone I know. He's a friend of mine. Uh, he um, he designed the Cylons for the 2003 Battlestar Galactica. He
Okay.
redesigned all the Cylon Raiders, and he was involved with it. There was Wes Sargent who did all the visual effects for Stargate and for like the
Mm-hmm.
Stargate series and stuff like that. And he was involved with. I mean, all these people were involved in it, and all of a sudden, it just didn't go anywhere. And I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Well." Some guy owns the rights to it. He doesn't want to give the rights up and all this other stuff. So they couldn't do the series. I mean, everybody was involved. Everybody. My friend Tammy, my friend Glenn from the asylum, they were all and
And
it,
then
it
this
just didn't
one.
happen. And I was like, man, I was so bummed. And then Steve goes, we found something in Canada, some series. I forget what it was. It was in Canada. It was a Canadian series, and the writers wrote themselves into a corner that they couldn't get out. And then Steve
Oh
said,
man.
and I was like, really? He goes, dude, I don't know what happened to these people. I was like, okay, so, but they grab the story and they have the story. You'll hear about it tomorrow night, but it's a really good story. It's like a three-story arc in the series, which is really cool. And
Uh,
so
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So I know.
he'll talk about his
So yeah.
time, um, you know, on Star Trek and stuff like that. But
So yeah. So
the guys who are voicing many of the characters in his project, some of them are from Enterprise, so you're gonna
yeah.
find
He
that
told
out
me.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three, two or three of them from Enterprise. Uh,
Dominic Keating,
Dominic
Anthony
and
Montgomery, and Connor Trenier.
yes,
Connor
I
Trenier
could.
played Trip, um, the weapons officer, Dominic Keating,
Mm-hmm,
and Anthony Montgomery, the helmsman
mm-hmm.
from Enterprise. So yeah, very very
So
talented
yeah,
folks. So
tell me,
yeah,
folks.
tomorrow
It's
night, nice.
so
All
yeah
right, I'm
tomorrow
gonna
night.
tune in for
So
that one. I'm
yeah,
stoked now.
it's gonna be a great show, man. It's gonna be a great
Yeah,
show.
cool.
So we're getting some nerd cred. We're getting some nerd cred thanks to George, man. And so we're coming up near the top of the hour, and so we have not been kicked off yet due to the weather. So we're going good.
Okay,
And
good.
again,
Do
so
we? Let's see if we have anybody in the chat we can help. There's nobody. I don't think we can help anybody. Let's find out.
I think
Da-da-da-da.
right there.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, you can hit us up in the chat. You can email us at gcprhelpdesk@gmail.com. That is gcprhelpdesk@gmail.com.
It's really weird. Okay. I do not see anybody in the. No, we got one viewer. Who's that viewer? Oh, we got two viewers. Wait a minute. It's probably us. No.
No,
I just wanted to see if there's anybody in the chat that we can help. Instead of me
also,
talking about.
shout out to all our international audience. You know,
Oh yes.
I'm bad about that. You know, Thomas recognized that. I always keep forgetting, but I love all y'all that listen to just those two nerds just ramble on about tech. I appreciate it, and I thank every one of y'all.
Yes, we have to talk about our international, our international listeners. I'm very sorry about that.
So we'll do better. We shall do better.
Yeah, we'll try to do better. I mean, if you get in the chat and
Now, if you
over
get
there,
in the
maybe we
chat,
can help you. Maybe we can talk about some stuff.
if you
Talk
get in the
about
chat, hey, we talk tech. We can talk all kinds of
thing,
tech from
things you want to hack. Come on.
just random stuff. You know, cars,
Starlink.
refrigerators.
You want to you you want to hack Starlink?
Starlink. Want to make your own Skynet? We can help you out with that too. Want to make your own Skynet to take over the world?
Many years ago, there was something called DirectPC, and it was like DirectTV, where you were getting your channels from satellite, and there was something called DirectPC.
Mm-hmm.
DirectPC was a satellite link to receive internet through satellite, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good." And I was working at Computer City at the time,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden, about I think it was like 10 months later, it was gone. It was gone from every Computer City. They weren't selling it anymore. All this other stuff. What happened? Well, when I got into DirectTV after Computer City and I was installing DirectTV, one of the technicians told me, they said, somebody hacked into the satellite and retasked the satellite. Now, if you know anything about retasking a satellite, when NASA retasks a satellite, they can use the thruster controls of the satellite to put it into a higher orbit, which means they can move it out of the way of other satellites traveling, in geostationary orbit or in geosynchronous orbit. Somebody hacked into the satellite and was able to move the satellite like a couple of degrees with DirectPC.
Oh,
And I was
man.
like, wow, that's awesome, dude.
Wow.
And they shut it down. They shut it down. It was gone.
Oh,
I
man.
remember that. And I was like,
Yeah.
really? He said, yeah. Said somebody hacked into the satellite. I was like, so what they did? I was like, they used their DirectPC dish to change the commands of the satellite and then move it. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
Knowing that those satellites actually have weapons grade plutonium on board,
Yeah.
because well they have what they have a weapon. Well, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I would assume it is weapon. Well, it could be turned into weapons grade plutonium. It is a radioactive battery to keep it going, and they actually have solar cells to keep some of the other systems going. But usually, it's a battery, and the battery it's a nuclear battery. So if you were to crash it into another satellite, or actually, use the thruster control pack on the satellite to turn the satellite and then kind
Right.
of
Kind
drop it on a country
of. Right.
on Earth, there'd be really nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
U.S. Space Command would probably find it, and say, hey, that satellite is moving. Did you know that? Oh,
so
okay.
wait,
Well,
what?
let's find out.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's that's a quick way to start a war. I mean,
Direct PC was
said
I have to
that's not good. That was not good.
yeah.
Oh man.
When we were installing Direct TV, um the the box I remember the the cable box or the satellite box. The satellite box was monitored by a phone line, so you had a phone line hooked to it, and the phone it would actually call out to the central office, and the central office would monitor, like your usage of it. Then there was a card. It looked like a it looked like an ID card, and the ID card it was kind of like a big SIM card, and the
Okay.
SIM card had it had your account, had your account information. It identified you as you with this box, and such and such a date. You start your subscription, and your subscription was only for particular channels. You had three ESPNs or four like ESPNs. You had HBO, you had Cinemax, you had
Mm-hmm.
Showtime, you had different things. They didn't have Prime at the time, or any of these other like streaming services. But you got all your regular channels in your area. Plus, you got some other channels. And when we used to install them, we had some of the technicians had what's known as a test card. So the test card, you would put the test card into the system to, like, after you put the satellite dish on somebody's house, and you put the wire through all the cabling, you did all the cabling, you wired it to the box, you wired it up to the
Mm-hmm.
TV. You would use the test card to test out, all the services. And it was a wide open card. It was a card that you could get everything. You could get Showtime, you could get, pay-per-view, you could do anything you wanted with this card. And I remember we used to I I was talking to one guy at one time, um in my area, because I lived in Morris Plains and I was doing it, and he goes, so George, how hard would it be to clone this card? And I was like, I don't know. Let's take a look. So I I really didn't clone it. I was like, I said I can't do this because he said, I said why? He goes, well, apparently there there are these cards are appearing on eBay under this certain name, and I was like, oh my God. He goes, yeah. So people are buying these wide open cards, these test cards, and they're getting all the channels that they want, and they're subverting the system. So I said, well, I would assume that DirecTV is is going to get involved. They said, yeah, it's a it's an FCC violation. It's all this other stuff. So they wrote an update to the box, and they sent it out without anybody knowing it. So all the people who had those special, test cards
All of a
had no
sudden,
service.
yeah.
Yeah. Sudden, it was like a sudden suspension of their
Uh-huh.
service. And I was like, "Oh." I said, "So you wrote the update." And then they said it was going to be like a security update and all this other stuff. So the security update went through, but some of the boxes were older. so they couldn't, they didn't have the random access memory, or they didn't have the flash RAM
Mm-hmm.
to hold the update because the update was very large. So a lot of people who had the older boxes,
They had to get a new
uh,
box.
they had to get new boxes, and they had to, yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
they were pissed. People were
well,
like, I gotta get the new box. They and
mm-hmm.
they found out
Yep.
that they found out when they got when they brought the old box in, um, the card was not there, but the flash RAM recorded what the open card had. It
Mm-hmm.
recorded all the shows that they were getting, the feed,
Right.
and they went in and they charged these people, and these people were not happy.
Oh man.
They got like a bill for like, you
Oh,
know,
it had to been
you like
for
yeah, like you were
hundreds,
watching
like
Showtime
few
for
hundreds.
like
Like,
about a year, or you were watching, Cinemax, you were watching,
mm-hmm.
HBO. You were watching all these pay-per-view specials, all these movies you were
Oh,
renting for
that was up in the
absolutely nothing, and you were
thousands.
getting them to this thing. Yeah, people were really PO'd.
That was in the thousands. Oh
Yeah, they made a
man.
lot of money. They did. Yeah, they made a lot of money. The new boxes. The new boxes. What they did was, I think, I don't know if they still have. I think they still have the card, but it's monitored through phone line, and then they put in this special motherboard, kind of like a daughter card that goes on top of the motherboard, and they
Okay.
plug it in, and this thing authenticates everything. It looks at everything now. It looks at if you're
Okay.
trying to hack into it. If you open it up, there's a there's a little there's like there is a it's like an electronic eye that looks if you opened up the case, like if you
Mm-hmm.
opened up the case to the special board, and then it had a little battery on there, and it looked at if you opened up that case. If you opened up that case and it saw that, it
Mm-hmm.
immediately shut everything down. So once you put the thing back together and you figured you were going to hack into it, you put your card back in, it wouldn't work. You have to call them, and they would have to
Mm-hmm.
come and say, "Well, wait a minute, you opened up this thing." And no, I didn't open it up, but no,
So no, you did because it's showing this code.
it's showing this code.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So,
yeah, I used to work at Time Warner Cable before they became Spectrum. So this was around the time when I first started. There were some of the technicians there that for whatever reason that because the way that it worked is that when you were employed there, whatever address that they had on file for you, you know,
right.
that was your account. And if you had a box there, a digital box or a modem or anything like that, it stays at that address.
Right.
If it anywhere else at that address, then you're in trouble. So one day, this was after what a few months, and then just a few people that just for whatever reason, going through divorces or just was moving or just anything like that, their boxes, modems weren't at their houses. There was a mass update, and boxes were being pinged back and forth, and then found out that the box that was supposed to be at this address wasn't here, and a lot of people got fired that next day. That's all I said. A lot of people got fired because of just life. I mean, that's all it was. Just life, you know. And it wasn't like they weren't trying to steal any. They weren't trying to steal anything. They weren't trying to you know,
Yeah.
uh, uh, give it to somebody else or anything like that. No, like I was pissed real there. There were two of them that were going through divorces, and they were living in motels.
Oh,
And so,
and then yeah, it wasn't.
yeah,
Uh,
so
um, uh, it wasn't the same number. It wasn't the
right,
same location. Yeah.
right, and so, and this is before how it is now with motels and hotels where they have, you know, cable there, and you could just and they have enough channels there to go through.
Right.
This is during the time when they just had just like local channels there, and so if you wanted to see any ESPN or if you wanted to see, any kind of news or anything like that, you had to have a box,
Yeah.
and so they brought the box there so they could watch TV. Got fired. I was like, oh,
Well, they did that with Netflix. Remember with the
oh
with the
yeah, the
profiles when
password.
people were like sharing profiles,
Yeah, sharing the
and
passwords.
people are
Yeah, they did
doing
that. Yeah, they
people
cracked
are
down
doing the
hard on
like
that.
what like with IP addresses, and a lot of people got really pissed about that.
Yeah, because Netflix cracked down hard on that one, and yeah, that pissed a lot of people off.
I remember back in the early '80s, Cablevision, where we lived, they they ha- they had these analog traps on the poles, so you would open up the box
Mm-hmm.
and it would have be like a little cylinder. You pull a little
Yeah,
cylinder out, whatever,
filter traps.
and
Yeah.
yeah, a little trap, and it would trap all the signals. It if you took all the little cylinders out
Mm-hmm.
and you had wide open trap, you got everything. You got Showtime, you got like Cinemax, which I used to call Skinemax because they had
Yeah, because they had the
all the porno
yeah.
stuff, and had all these things, and you would get it all. What happened was they changed their system because they found out that people were
Because
plugging
they
into these boxes
mm-hmm.
and getting free cable. So what
Yeah.
they did was they got rid of all the boxes and they went to a digital system where everything updated digitally. And
Mm-hmm.
when people lost all these shows and all these things that they were watching, they I think the next because my brother used to work I think for Cablevision, in East Orange, he used to work around Newark and stuff like that, as well. My brother Albert, and he said, the next day, there were all these people jammed into the one office at Cablevision, trying to get all of their cable services back because Cablevision just like
Because
cut them off
security
because it was
guys.
all electronic
Yeah.
now. It was all on the server, and it was like a server based system. It's all digital, and and all these people were getting all these channels, and now they weren't getting any more channels, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. It was that. That happened a lot when, especially here, going from analog to digital, and that whole transition period. There were waves of people that would come in just because that we knew well, they had analog because they were smart enough to know where the filters were,
right,
and so they would take off ESPN filter, HBO filter, Showtime, Cinemax, um, Stars, all of them.
yeah,
Yeah, they take all those traps off, right? And
that was the
so,
day. Yeah,
and so yeah,
that was like the best time to live, man. That was
yeah,
it. I mean, that was like,
they loved it because I mean they were getting all of the channels, and then the only thing they were paying was like just for basic. They just
yeah,
pay for basic cable, and to get all the movie channels, the pay per views, and all of that for free. But when they went to digital, oh, like I
yeah,
said, there would just be waves of people that were just mad because now if they want to keep watching it, they had to pay.
They did that with I remember Xbox when everybody was doing the mods for their Xbox and they were
Yeah.
getting onto the like Halo
Mm-hmm.
servers and stuff. And they
Mm-hmm.
wrote that update. They wrote that update for the Halos. The guys who had I think it was guys were making mods on their Xboxes, but I think they were cheating.
Yeah.
The s- the
Because.
server was VAC, so it was void against cheating. And but the mod allowed you to kind of like circumvent, the cheating thing, so you could have like through the wall,
Mm-hmm.
vision. You could see your enemy through the wall, and then you could see where they were all coming out, and then you could, you know,
Yeah.
the basic kill. So, um, Microsoft wrote this update, and the update changed everything. And what happened was everybody who had the mod on their system, it it basically blew the chip out. Like it overclocked it, and it just
Mm-hmm.
blew the chip out. So everybody who had this mod on their system had to go get a brand new system
Yeah, I remember
and
that. Yeah,
had to
I remember that story.
had their account put into review because they were cheating on the server. I remember that. They found so many people. There were so many people who were pissed off at it, but I
Oh
was like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because I remember that because that was a big thing in the news. Because so at the time I was still working at Time Warner at the time, but I was huge into gaming.
Mhm.
And when that story came out, I was like, oh man, because I knew when everybody said people were modding their Xboxes to cheat. I knew instantly. I knew the only reason why they were mad or mad like that is because they had to get new systems. So
Yeah.
not not could it be anything that was saving money or anything like that, where they could just take the mod off or you know reformat their Xbox where they
Right.
even though they'd be
But I
pissed
mean, some
because
guys were, I mean, like some guys were actually banned from the server. So it didn't even matter if they got a new Xbox or anything like that. They were banned from the server for life. And I was like, wow, what happens?
gee,
What happens now? Like,
I
I can't
mean
play Halo anymore on
it's like what do you
on the Microsoft server. I might be
it's
able to
like
get
what do
it,
you do
like on
after that? I
PC.
mean, change your name, change your whole identity, like move
No, I
like
mean,
move to
well,
Mexico or Canada or both.
change your name and change your address and get a different IP, maybe. I don't know.
I
Because I
don't know.
remember the guys who were, I used to play something called Counter Strike. I think Counter Strike is still around,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like Halo, but you use like different guns and everything. It's kind of like it's a
It's like
PvP,
Call of Duty. It's almost like Call of Duty.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Call of Duty game. And some of those, servers were very, very strict. You couldn't do this, and you couldn't do that, and you couldn't do this. I was on this server one night. I was playing with these guys from my friends from the Isle of Wight in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing Counter Strike. No, I'm sorry, we were playing Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, and I was on this one server. We were on like um, I think we were on like a UK server. I'm playing with these two guys, my friends, and I said the the admin was being like a real jerk to everybody. He was like, increasing. He was increasing the latency, um, on certain players. And I was like, the hell's he doing? He's he was actually increasing the handicap on certain players. So certain
Right.
players would be slower and all this other stuff. And I was like, I said to my friend Ian, I said, dude, what is this guy doing? He's like, well, he can do that. That's his server and all this other stuff.
That's it. All
And
right.
then I typed into the chat, and I didn't know that the guy was the admin of the server. I said, "Who is this wanker?" And it's something else. And all of a sudden, I get this message: "You are banned from this server." And I was like, "Gone." So, I got onto the I got I went to another because we were on TeamSpeak at the time, so we're talking over the internet, and he goes, George, you got banned. Dude, you got banned. You're banned from the server. And I'm like going, well, I guess he didn't like being called a wanker. He goes, he is a fucking wanker. We're gonna boycott this guy's server. And then we went to like another server, and then I said, you have Counter Strike? He goes, yeah, Counter Strike. Okay, we'll play on like some American servers. So we were playing on the American server, and like, yeah, that's when I got banned, calling the admin a wanker. So yeah, there you go. That's my wanker story. I'm sticking to it, and he was.
That's
He was actually
hilarious.
increasing the latency of certain players to make them play slower.
Oh
And I was
yeah,
like,
probably because he was losing.
probably because he was losing. Yeah.
I mean, if he's losing and you know he knows he knows he can win, if he could just say, you know what, he's a little too good. Let me slow this down a little bit right here. Shoot, shoot,
Yeah,
shoot,
like
shoot, shoot. All right, he cannot shoot me back because he's
when
too
my
slow.
guy looked like he was running in 8-bit, it was kind of a
It's obvious.
it put a red flag up for me. So, yeah, but yeah, yeah, he's a
Who's this
wanker.
wank?
Who's this wanker? I'm the admin. Banned. Okay, no problem.
Oh, it's a, yeah. Good times in
200
gaming.
other servers.
Good times in gaming.
Yeah, I met a lot of my friends through gaming. That's funny. You meet these people. I met the one guy in person. Um, my my friend Scott. I met him, and he nice guy. He worked for this um, he worked for this place, and he had to go to Germany with it. I think he had to go overnight to Germany to do this one office and hook it up like with satellite and all this other stuff. And it was going to be a 6-month project, and he was like, I don't want to go to Germany. He goes, I just want to go on vacation and all this other stuff. And I was like, well, I said, what help do you need? And he goes, well, um, I need to do some IP address, I need like to test out some IP addresses. I was like, okay. So he got to the hotel, all this other stuff. He went right to the site, and he went to the site at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was there. He was there all alone, and the thing was supposed to take 6 months, but he did it. He did the whole job overnight. I remember this.
Damn.
He did the entire job overnight, did all the cabling, did everything, programmed all the servers, did it all. And
He
he was
said,
like he goes the last bit I'm gonna do in my hotel room while I'm drinking. And he goes, and the next day I'm gonna go on vacation. And I was like, cause he was getting like really really burned out. And he goes, I need you to do some penetration testing for me. And I said, okay. So I was in my lab at Intel, and I was doing a thing, and I'm sending all these, I'm sending out, all these packets for IP address, testing, and and I was testing certain vulnerabilities in the thing. Okay, well, this doesn't work. That works. That works. That works. And I sent him this whole list, and he goes, okay. He goes, I reprogrammed everything. Everything's fine. I got all this done. I said, what else do you have to do? He goes, I just have to realign, uh, the satellite dishes on the top of the building. I said, are they automated? He goes, well, they're on motors. They're on like servo motors. And I said, oh, so you can do it all from your laptop. He goes, yeah. And he goes, "Duh, duh, 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 duh." And he goes, okay, it's all, he goes, it's all done. I was like, all done. Okay. And then he wrote up, he spent the last 3.5 hours writing, a synopsis of what he did and kind of like everything there. I mean, it took him all night long because, because like in the midst of this, we were playing StarCraft. So he was in Germany, and I was in Parsippany, and we were playing StarCraft over the server. And he's like going, "Wow, you're really getting good at this." I'm like, I go, "Okay, I got this one," and we're going back and forth and everything. And I have one server, with penetration testing with Linux, Red Hat. I had another server with Windows. I had another server with, some other stuff. And we're just sending all this stuff over, sending it over like from my servers to Germany, going back and forth and just doing it. And he's like, okay, I'm done. I like, nice. Okay. I said, dude, enjoy your vacation. He goes, well, hopefully I'll see you, because I'm going to be coming to the US and all this other stuff. And so he
All right.
left. So he tells me the story when he gets back from vacation. I said, how pissed off was your boss? He goes, my boss thought I was going to be there for 6 months. He was like, there was no way I was going to be in that cold, cold country for 6 months. He was like, he goes, it was frozen over there. He said, and the floor where I was on had all this cabling, all these servers. I hooked everything up. He said there was no heat on this one floor, and he said it was freezing. He goes, I just did not want to be there. I wanted to be on a beach, sipping, some pina colada, whatever it was, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
go on vacation. He goes, and he did. He did it all. He did, and he translated English to German, German to English in the synopsis, and he made up like, he did all these. He did the books. He did, and he made it all for all these people. I think he made like 50 books, and it has the whole synopsis of what he did, all sort of stuff, and he just left. And they came in the next morning and everything was done. it
I mean,
was like
that's. Say,
it
look,
was like it was like and he goes, I'm sitting on the beach, and he goes, I remember getting a call from my boss, and my boss goes, where are you? He said, I'm on vacation now, boss. He goes, aren't you supposed to be doing that job in Germany? He goes, it's done. He goes, what do you mean it's done? It's done. It's finished. I'm on vacation for like 4 weeks. He was going to be on vacation for like a whole month. And his boss goes, I'm getting this call from the German office and blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, I guess they must have saw what he did, and they sent his boss the synopsis through email, and he was like, "Oh, everything's done." He goes, "Yeah, everything's done."
so that was the embodiment of screw that. He truly
Yeah,
he embodied screw that.
yeah, he was just like, you
Si-
know,
Six months.
I can't take this. I can't take this place for. He
So,
goes, yeah, yeah,
6 months here. No, no, screw that. No,
yeah, like
I'm
yeah,
going on
like he hadn't
vacation.
had
I'm
a
going.
vacation in like 10 years. He was just
Say
because
no. I'm going on
he
vacation.
was that
I'm
yeah.
going day after tomorrow because
He,
it's going to take me a day to get this done. Screw that. Screw 6 months. I'll get this done day after tomorrow.
I've done that like on certain jobs when I was at Intel, just working at night, and I was like, you know what? It's easier to work at night without all the interruptions because people would just interrupt you, like in the daytime. And my boss would be calling
Oh
me,
my
I don't
god,
see
yeah.
you at the computer. There's a camera there. I don't see you at the computer. I was like, oh yeah. And I used to unplug the camera, or I actually one time on the one camera, because we had the ball camera that looked like the eyeball on the little, on like the little
Yeah. I like
little
the little.
triangle. I forget
Yeah.
what that thing was called, the old one. I used to kind of like move it up so it would look up at the ceiling, you know, and he would, and he would like call up and he'd go, "How come I can't see you on camera?" I was like, "Boss, it's that stupid." I said,
It's the stupid
the
thing
way
that
was
the
the
way
way you have this camera,
it keeps rolling
and
up.
the cable, because the cable's coming out the back. I used to just go bink and just hit it, and then it would just go up. It would just like move up, and it would look up. It wouldn't look at anything, in the lab. I'm gonna have to get a, I'm gonna have to get a camera to look at you. You're not at your desk. You're not at your desk. I'm like, yeah, because I was in the other room doing. I said, do you want me to take the camera with me? I said, the USB cable doesn't, go that far. I said, we could get an extension. I could put the camera there, and it could look at me. And then my my friend my friend Alan said, "Why don't you get like a colonoscopy camera, put it up your, like stick it up your rear, and he could look at, he could look at you all day long." I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do this." I was like, yeah. He goes, "Well, I'm like, why do
I mean,
I have to have a camera looking at me all the time?
I mean
Like,
that
I
may be the
just,
only time he would have been satisfied in life.
just, it was stupid. I was like, dude, leave me alone. Let me do my work. I just want to get stuff done. So, yeah,
Yeah,
camera in the
man,
lab.
no, I totally get it because sometimes 3 a.m. you get a lot more done at 3 a.m. than you do at 3 p.m. I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to wait till people left and then I would go do my work. And my boss would go, "Why are you here so late?" I was like, "Because,"
it's the
he
only
goes,
time you
"You're
can
not
work.
getting paid for this." I said, "I understand I'm not getting paid for it." But I said, all the stuff that came from the loading dock comes to my lab in the middle of the night. If I'm here in the middle of the night, he goes, "Well, you have to support this lab." I understand that. I'm the only one in the lab. Nobody else comes here.
Hmm.
He goes, "Well, I come there in the morning." And I'm like, "I understand you come here in the morning. You come here with, with the lab. There was a lab Well, sorry, I was a lab coordinator. He was the boss, and then there was his boss, who was this English guy named Steve. And Steve used to have an office on the third floor, just outside my lab. And he would always ask me these stupid questions like, "Well, what are the lab stats for today?" I'm like, "Did you do Alt S for status lab stat? Like lab stat?" I like Alt S. "Oh, here it is. Yeah. Why aren't you displaying that in the lab?" "Because if I'm writing the lab stat for that day, guess what? I'm not doing the work that you want me to do." He goes, "Oh, well, can't we project them somehow, on the wall?" And I said, "Yeah, we could, but that would cost $15,000 because you're going to get a $10,000 plasma TV you're going to hang on the wall. You're going to get a $5,000 video card that's going to go into the computer. And then
Hmm.
you're going to have to program. You're going to have to find somebody to program all the lab stats every single day. I'm going to have to type them in. That's going to take, an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half I could be building stuff and I could, be testing stuff." And he goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I said, you don't need to see what the lab status is of this, of this lab because we just build stuff here. That's all we do. We don't, so we do a little bit of testing, but when I'm doing testing, it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I have people come like from Israel or Russia or whatever, and that's what we were doing. But it was more of a uh, it was more of like a research and development lab. That's what it was like.
Okay.
And he wanted to have the lab stats like I was, testing all these PBX boards. I wasn't doing that. I was just getting the fastest computers known to man in my lab, P3 800 megahertz, and you know, I was basically building computers, putting operating systems on them, and you know,
And just calling it a day.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and calling it a day. And then we would get computers in. They would come in every so often from different countries where they went to a show. So they they went to a show and they brought all these computers with them. So they brought the newest Intel servers were 2U high. Now, if you don't know what 2U is, 2 units high means it's 2 inches thick or 2 inches high, the servers.
Mm-hmm.
They were P3 800s. They had um, they had like these PBX boards in them,
Okay.
and the PBX boards were anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000, per board. They were very expensive boards. So they would the the first time they had a show for Intel, it went to Europe. One went to Paris, one went to England, another went there, and they had this computer called the Kodiak. The Kodiak computer was a it was a CPCI. Now, if you don't know what a CPCI computer is, it's basically a backplane of gold pins that would stick out, and you'd have these boards that you slide in, and then you would lock them in with these plastic tabs that would actually push the board, toward the backplane. It's called CPCI. It was compact PCI. So all the boards themselves would have a hard drive on it. It would have a processor on it, but it was dual processor, dual hard drive, which means when you put 2000 server in or you put your server software in, you would have to do a dual boot. So the dual boot, meant that you could um, run 2000 server concurrently on either processor and either hard drive, kind of like a RAID, kind of like RAID 0. So that's the compact PCI. So the compact PCI board was very, very fragile. It was just aluminum, like the aluminum sheeting with these little rails holding the backplane. The backplane was, basically like the main. Well, it wasn't the main board of the computer. It was just a backplane that all the other boards would go into. So you would have all your processor boards in front. You'd have all your expansion boards in the back, and they would all mate, to each other with these gold pins. Well, they brought this thing to England, and it came back in the mail one day in a cardboard box. Now, the cardboard box did not look like the shape of the Kodiak. The Kodiak was a big square. The box that came back looked like a hat box. And I was like, and I just looked at myself. I said, "Oh my God." And I opened up the box, and it was, it was flattened. I mean, like crushed. And I was like, "Oh my God, this. It's like a $10,000 computer." I was like, "What the hell did they do?" So Steve comes in, and he goes, "Oh, um, I got the DHL tracking number on that computer that came in, how does it look? And I'm like, um, um,
So,
he's like, he's like going, um, he goes, George,
uh,
he goes, George, George, you're not saying anything. I'm like, I'm trying to describe it, Steve. He's like, he goes, George, how does it look? I said, it looks compact. It doesn't look compact BCI, but it looks, he goes, what's wrong with it? I said, well, it has not retained its square shape or its boxy shape as it was. It is a trapezoidal shape right now. And he goes, trapezoidal. What does that mean? I was like, well, the
it ain't
back plane,
square.
what?
It ain't square. That's what
It
it
ain't
means.
square no more. And he goes, and all of a sudden I hear this, oh my God. And it was funny because I can hear him on the phone, but his office was outside the lab, and you
So
can
you
hear him
can hear
yelling
him.
outside the lab. So he comes running in. I hang up the phone. We open up the box. Now, the the two sides were, like this with like a bar with like a couple bar. It was like this.
Oh
It was
man.
like that. And the
Now,
back plane was totally shattered. It shattered like glass. It had these gold pins on it. And all the boards were just broken. And I was like, what the hell could they have possibly done to this? So, and all the computers that came back from Europe were like that. Everything. Like they just didn't care. I was like, and so I'm like, I'm sorting through all the pieces and everything, and I'm putting on the boards. I'm taking out the hard drive, taking out the RAM, taking out the processors.
mm-hmm.
And he goes, "So what can you salvage?" I said, "I salvaged two hard drives and a processor. All the RAM is crushed. Everything is gone." And he goes, "Well, what about, you know, the dialogic boards?" I said, "Well, the dialogic boards are gone." He goes, "What do you mean the dialogic boards are gone?" I said, "Dialogic boards are not in this box. No." He goes, "Well, those are like $10,000. Those boards equal to almost $100,000." I said, "Yes, they are not here." I said, "There's supposed to be 10 boards. There's no boards here." He goes, "Well, did somebody take them out?" "I don't know." I said, "I just opened up the thing and that's how it was," and all this other stuff. So we had to go searching for the boards, and then found out that Intel in Paris took the boards out, thought that they were theirs, so they kept them in their thing. And then Steve's on the phone, and he's trying to talk French to them, and there was a lot of mirrored going on, a lot of expletives going on, back and forth, and he's trying to curse in French and curse in American, and all this other stuff. So the one computer came back, it was DOA. Another computer came back, it was just bent. Everything was bent. The motherboard was broken, and I was just, it was just a horrible, horrible time. It was a horrible catastrophe. So the next time these computers went out, they made crates for them. These beautiful crates. They made all these crates. They put all the computers in crates. They had foam. They
Right.
had all the stuff. I said, instead of building these crates, why don't you buy this? And I showed them the thing like from Specialized Tools. It's a it's like the roadie cases that you would put audio equipment in, and guitars and
Yeah.
sound equipment.
Like
It
the
actually
heavy
came with
duty.
pick and pluck foam, right?
Yeah, like the big
Right,
heavy
the
duty
heavy
stuff
duty,
with the
yeah, with the
with
yeah
the
with
with the
with like the butterfly locks.
yeah.
and and he goes, "Oh my God, these are perfect." And then he goes, "How much are these?" He goes, "Oh, these are so expensive." Blah blah blah. I was like, so expensive. I mean, you're working for friggin' Intel, man. He goes, oh, these things are just too expensive. So they went with the wood and they did it again. They went with the wood and the foam and it happened again. And I said to him, I said, okay, Steve, you did it twice. You broke a $10,000 computer twice. That's $20,000 that you just wasted when you could have bought the
Bought this
case
case
for
for
$1,500 and put the stupid thing in and shipped it that way. They could have put all the air, tag and all the, what is it,
right.
all the stickers on the thing, and it wouldn't have,
Said no problem. No,
broken.
yeah.
So they did it again, and they did the thing where they got the $1,500 cases. And after they did that, everything was fine. I never got any credit for it, but everything was fine. But yeah. So it's 7:50. I'm gonna stop
Said
rambling on. I'm sorry about that, but
oh no, you're
nobody
good.
was in the chat to.
No, you're good, man. You're good,
We
man.
can't
Because
really
said no, because I
can't
mean
really
it's
help anybody on the help desk. I mean, if people really don't want help, then they don't want help. But
they don't want help. They don't need help. Then hey,
yeah, I know.
then we just
I mean,
we'll talk. We'll talk about tech.
it's a summertime. That's why.
So
You
yeah,
know,
so I'm not I'm not
we
worried
don't
about
we
it.
don't.
So it when people need help, they need help,
Yeah.
and so that's all it is. And so yeah, we're coming close near the end of the show, and so yeah, had a great conversation. You know,
I did most of
but
the
the
talking. I'm so sorry.
it's
I rambled
fine.
on again. I
Ah,
did. Yeah, I did it again. I'm so sorry. I rambled on again. I just got, you know what I was thinking that we do a show where
mm-hmm.
you just talk and I sit here in like the Captain Christopher Pike chair with the boop, boop. I could do that. Jeff and I talked
Well, see,
about
I
that. And
did.
I
I
was
see.
like, dude,
I
I
need
would
a lot
love
of.
to do that.
Well, see,
I mean, I would love to do that on a Star Trek show. That would be
I would need a
great.
lot of water to do that because I get cotton mouth bad.
Uh,
So, I need a lot of water in order to do that.
so George,
But
how
yeah,
you doing
but
today?
but
Boop.
beep. Hey, George, how you feeling today? Me. How's the wife doing? Me.
Jeff and I were just talking about that. The one thing he said, dude, that would be priceless. I said that would be funny on a Star Trek show, like the Rules of Nerdquisition. Just,
Right.
just,
Just to show up in there,
just to have
uh,
like, like if you wanted me to be on, I wouldn't
say,
talk. I
Mr.
just
George.
have the thing across there with the beep.
Say, Mr. George, say hello to the people, George. Beep. Beep. George says hi. Oh, but speaking of Jeff, so we got Jeff Kennedy coming up next on
TKE
GCPR.
tonight.
TKE tonight on the GCPR network. So you catch him, learn a little bit of something. You see him on GCPR.live, Facebook, maybe LinkedIn if he streams on LinkedIn. I don't know if he will at night or not, but hey, you can still catch him on GCPR.live, Facebook, The Kennedy Effect, and after him, we've got Conversations with T. Nathan, and you can catch T. Nathan all over the interwebs on the YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. And he is on at 11. Conversation with T. Nathan. We got coming up next, The Kennedy Effect, TKE, with Jeff Kennedy and Techno George, right over here next to me. Boop. So, with that being said, I am the Angry IT Nerd. This is Techno George. We are the help desk. We are here to help you. So, give
So
us a good
please,
sure.
if you have
So,
questions or problems,
yep,
or
questions,
you just
questions,
want to hang out and
problems,
just
or
talk,
you want to just chat it up with us or anything like that, or you have anything you just want us to talk about in general, send us an email at gcprhelpdesk at gmail.com. Again, that is gcprhelpdesk at gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you get all your social medias. So, and on that note, I will take it. I will say to everybody, good night and take care.